Are you someone seeking truth, but you don't want the full truth? You just want half-truths and just enough truth to keep you distracted and occupied and not enough truth to really figure out who or where we are or have a full spiritual awakening? Well, follow along. I have just the perfect 3 individuals who will always just give you a little bit of truth and a whole lot of lies. Here are 3 3 individuals that all have their own shows that supposedly talk about conspiracies, and they try to get to the bottom of many truths. Joe Rogan, everyone knows him and the Joe Rogan podcast. Sam Tripoli has the Tinfoil Hat podcast. And Ian Carroll, he is big on the scene now. He was just on the Joe Rogan podcast. And well, these are 3 individuals, like I said, that claim to be truth seekers. But they're anything but that. You see, they're just as part of the club as all the celebrities are part of the club. They're just rolled out on a red carpet for the people seeking truth so they can gatekeep the real truth that is going to awaken you to take your power back. And you can see, they always will tell us. Joe with his fingers, and Joe sure looks, we'll get to this, but he sure looks awful feminine in those pictures. And they always tell us with their devil horns and the duality, black and white checkered board, and even the peace sign. They let you know, you just got to be paying attention. Let's just take a closer look at Joe Rogan here, looking awfully feminine with his little earrings and sassy little face. But like I said, they're going to feed you a whole lot of truth, but they're not going to get to the topics that are really going to wake you up. For example, he has Jimi Hendrix sitting right in his background, in Elvis too. And well, if you are any type of truth seeker whatsoever, one of the very early things that you realize is that Jimi Hendrix faked his death and became Morgan Freeman. I mean, it's obvious. I've done a video on it. If you're awake at all, this is something you come across. But he would never talk about this in a million years, because then it awakens you to the fact that there are so many fake deaths in Hollywood and the music industry, and there's so many people playing multiple roles, but he would never talk about this type of thing, just like none of them would ever dare give credence to flat earth. Yeah, Sam talks about it once in a while and even claims to be a Christian, but that's what they do. They throw out their fishhook and they reel you in by telling you things that you want to hear so they can make sure to steer you in the directions they want. And this guy, Ian Carroll, he has so many people fooled because he does. He puts out a lot of truth. But the one thing that you know for sure, if someone's just a liar and a gatekeeper, is they mock flat earth and they don't give it any credence whatsoever. And well, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast recently, and of course he had to get his 2 punches in on flat earth, and I'll let you listen. And before we even get to that, he has even talked about it on his X account and makes fun of flat earth because it's easy to explain away that we live on a globe. Guys, I'm not talking to anyone out here that isn't fully awake. I'm talking to people right now who know what I know about the celebrities faking deaths and know what I know about living on a stationary, flat, non-rotating world. He knows that. And he just wants to make sure you don't know that. And let's get to the clip. I mean, you'll see that he and Joe, they always dance around and make sure to make fun of flat earth, because flat earth is the key to fully awakening and fully taking your power back and fully knowing who's lying to you, like these guys. Oh, and the other thing they all do is they push the alien narrative, because that's what, if you're part of the club, you got to do.
As to your Elon's answer to your alien question the other day, which I understand that you probably couldn't talk about it anyway.
That's how I take all of his answers about aliens.
It's like,
okay.
Nice try. I had to try.
All right.
But like,
and
there's
look,
no way.
I don't ask him about it off air either.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, you got to respect a man's like private. Like, he's got NDAs up the wazoo for that kind of shit.
Also, he has top secret military clearance and he runs SpaceX.
Bingo.
Yeah, I wouldn't say jack shit.
And that's where flat Earth comes in.
They're all real. They're very subtle. That's what I would say too.
It's planned.
Exactly.
He's going to talk about
it. And
it.
I think that flat Earth, a lot of the evidence that gets cited as flat Earth, like, for example, NASA fakes footage. And if you look into it, it's fucking obvious that NASA is putting out fake footage. They're clearly on wires in some of that footage. Clearly some of that footage is underwater and there's bubbles fucking floating up and shit.
I mean, if you have half a brain, you could see it was set up that he was just waiting for his intro to bring up flat Earth so he can discredit what people think. Watch the rest.
And if you look into it, it's fucking obvious that NASA is putting out fake footage. They're clearly on wires in some of that footage. Clearly, some of that footage is underwater and there's bubbles fucking floating up and shit.
Not some.
But
Which
that-
footage?
Just like NASA publishes all kinds of footage, from like the ISS to they have live streams to they do like videos, and no one ever watches it because like whoever watches random.
So you
NASA
think some
footage,
of the ISS footage is fake?
there's a lot of footage you can find online that is coming from NASA where there's like little slips, or like a guy is like they're doing their floating shit and then the buddy reaches out and grabs where a wire is to help his buddy get back into frame, like little slips of the mind where they're like just trying to orchestrate. Yeah,
I've never seen any of that.
And who knows if
It's
real or
looks
not.
hokey.
Sure.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that gets cited by flat earthers as like NASA's covering up flat Earth.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is that there's a lot of reasons why NASA would cover up and produce fake footage from
Yeah,
something like
because
the
of
ISS, and
aliens.
every single one of them rhymes with aliens. Because if there's any type of aliens going on up here, it's very possible that they are up there in that fucking space station, or they're
What?
or like they could be, like I don't know. And I'm not saying I think they are for sure. I'm just saying that people tend to look at a piece of evidence and jump too quickly on the one explanation that they're sure is right. And sometimes there's other explanations. And aliens apply to so many parts of our world, like demons. Sound very much like the UAP phenomenon to me, right? A lot of these religious beliefs sound very much like explainable just with different wording by UAP phenomenon. As in, some of these aliens, we seem to be being told that they communicate telepathically. They have energetic ability, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm suspecting that we're going to be finding out that religion is like humans trying to interpret these phenomenon over millennia in all the human ways we would, and telling stories about them. And I'm not saying that God's not real. I'm saying God is real. And that does not diminish God at all. I almost think it makes God more important and more powerful to understand, because from my understanding, correct me if you have a different one, it sounds like we're getting a lot of reports that are cross-corroborating that there's more than one thing going on here. It's not all aliens are the same, and it's not some of them might be us from the future, some of them might be us from under the water, some of them might be other species, it's really hard to pin down like what all these phenomena are.
This guy is so full
but they're
of dog
definitely
crap.
not just made up.
And I think some of them are ours.
I agree.
I think, I think the cover up is the weird part, though. It's like, if you go back to Operation Blue Book.
Why are they covering it up?
Look,
these guys couldn't be more full of dog crap if you loaded a whole bunch of dog crap down their mouth. Guys, they're part of the agenda. They push the mainstream narrative and with a whole lot of truth around it. But there's a few things like celebrities faking their death that they'll never touch, like flat earth that they'll never admit to, because they can't allow you to know that the people on the TV are lying to you. They can't. They can't do it. That's their job, is to make sure that the people on the TV that you think are being truthful are actually being truthful. The astronauts going to space, the musicians playing their devil music in front of you, all the actors and celebrities who are faking deaths and coming back as other people, all the people that are literally putting the propaganda on the TV, they can't allow you to know that they're all part of this little 666 and duality and Freemason club. They're all Freemasons, Ian Carroll included. So like I said, if you're looking for half truth and just enough to be distracted, yeah, listen to these guys. But if you want real truth, find some people that are talking about flat earth. And unfortunately, there are some liars in the flat earth community too. But the way you can spot them is because they will also push you away from the Bible and the truth of God, just like Ian Carroll is doing here. I'm not saying God's not real. Yeah, but it's aliens. They're not telling the truth about the ISS and the footage because of aliens. Okay, Ian, cool story. I just had to end on this. Guys, we're living in a spiritual realm. And the whole point of all of these people is that they're false idols and you're meant to worship them instead of the Heavenly Father. And the other point of them is to direct you in every single direction but the truth of the Bible. The Bible's literal. And we're living in biblical times right now, and these guys are not the answer. Seek truth, not through them. Open up a Bible, see how true it is. Of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I'm sure Joe just looks super feminine because that was the style in the day. Entertainment only.